These videos are about looking at old documents about the countryside and putting back what has been lost about our environmental heritage. So I'm in Langley Burrell, which is just north of Chippenham, just a couple of miles. We're right on the edge of the suburbs, and I have two Anglo-Saxon charters for this area, but as G.B. Grundy, the Oxford professor who's doing this work, doing hundreds of Saxon charters, decoding them, their landscape descriptions, he says we just can't do it. It can't be solved. We can confirm a few things are in this area. So in this case, I've had to go to other sources, the OS map and crucially the tithe maps of the 1800s. This field here is called Old Borrow, and that should give us a good clue of the sort of things we might be looking for today. There's two things that drew me to Langley Burrell. One, Chippenham's really close to Bristol and I didn't fancy driving down to Salisbury again. Two, both Saxon charters talk about a Raheie, and a Raheie is a heia of the Rach in Old English, and heia is hedge, hedged enclosure, and Rach is road deer. I'm hoping to find some today. Let's see if there's any continuity from the past. It's this wood on the map today is called Bird's Marsh, and it's not very wet, and the bird part isn't correct. So this is the first little discovery to be made on the tithe map, is that the name for this wood is Birch Marsh, and you can easily see how birch accidentally becomes bird. It's a stroke of the pen to make that happen. But perhaps we could set the record straight and put back its original old name. I can tell this is an old wood because I've lost my sense of direction. I've gone the wrong way twice already. I've only just got here. So anyway, I'm out for a nice stroll. That's the point. It doesn't matter. Next door to it are other Barrow fields, and then beyond it, Barrow Farm. Down there, about 500 yards, is a brook called Stein Brook, which goes down further towards the Avon, and it is called the Chisel Brook, going down there. And all those three things tell us that here, somewhere near here, it's possibly something Roman. For a wood that's called Birch Marsh, it's not very birchy, and it's not very marshy. Though it's there are mostly oaks and sycamores. I don't often see a wood that's mostly sycamore. Maybe in the right direction. I don't think the paths here don't seem to accord with what's on the map. Some nice birches here, which is nice. I have no idea. There's a lot of rhododendrons. I have no idea where I am. There's a lot of rhododendrons here, so it does feel like it's not just the encroachment of the town that made the landowner decide that he was no longer to bother farming this area. It doesn't feel managed at all. It does feel like it's the sort of thing that the locals wander through for leisure, and thank God for that in my view, but I still think that the landscape is there to be farmed, to be exploited for human need. I always have done. But anything else is decadent in my view. But this is neglect. Rhododendrons everywhere. I mean, fair play to them. I mean, they're foreigners, came over, worked really hard, set down roots, and then took over. They've certainly won the survivor of the fittest contest in this area. I've got a couple of objectives today. I want to have a look at that wood, which I think I've done, see what I think of it. 2, walk down to the Stein Brook, by the way, or Steinbeck, wherever it is. By the way, it shouldn't have a name like that down in the south of England. It feels quite wrong. Stein is stone. The Stein is stone, but it's that's of Nordic or Germanic origin. It doesn't sit right in this area down in the southwest. I suspect antiquarian nonsense. But chisel comes from Old English chazel, and that's a name. Both those names are given to the same little river. So chisel, gravel, stones, and stonebeck. It also, we're pretty sure it means it was called Meerbrock in old English, but it might or might not. Grundy's very unsure about it. I'm even more unsure now, but it might have been. I think what's more likely is that it was called Beaverbrock, the brook of the beaver. Just looking at the chart or getting an impression, it may very well be that. Objectives. So beyond, over there is some parch marks. Well, they're not crop marks anyway, which are linear with right angles, little enclosures all bunched together. Now over there on the Heritage Environmental Record, it says that there is a linear, a ladder style Roman settlement. They found plenty of pottery and so on. Yet the crop marks over there, about half a mile away, seem much more likely, a likely candidate for that sort of thing. It looks great from the satellite photographs. Let's go over and see if there's any molehills with any pottery in them, and see if we get an impression of the place. And then we've got our Raheie. Can we say anything about it at all? There is a farm called Roward in the next parish. I think that's Roward, the warder of the roe deer. I reckon. There's a couple of leap gates in various parishes very close to here, and in the tithe map there's a field over there which is called Butts Hayes, and that Hayes is hedge, or the French word for hay, Raheie. It is one of the. It's certainly the remnant of a hedged enclosure. It might or might not be part of our row hedge, but let's see if we can find some hedges there and date them. There's 2 public footpaths going through it, so there's a good chance I can date all 4 hedges on all 4 sides of this square field. Straight away I was going to say I've got to keep my eyes peeled for pottery now, and I found some immediately, and I don't know what it is, but I must do a course. Oh, I don't know, I think it's greyware. I think it is Roman. So my not this field but the next one, just over there, 100 yards away, there is a grid pattern of crop marks which make me think there's something Roman there. Could be medieval. The Heritage Environmental Record says that there's pottery, medieval pottery over here, and there was a medieval farm here, and but I'm looking at the quality of that crop mark and going, So if there is an archaeologist watching this, knows anything about this matter, please let me know. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty there. That's a nice bit of pot. It's got to be slipware, hasn't it? Because there's a coating. Is it colour coated? Oh God, I know nothing about pottery, but I've got a feeling from a few years' experience it might be in my period somewhere. I hope so. That's a nice piece. So I've had a little sneaky peek. You see that? It's been quite successful. I've shown you that bit already. Got a piece of rim there. Can you see that? That's really coarse. That one. I don't know what it is. I can't date these bloody things. I'm useless. And I picked up a piece of glass. Now, only because I picked up pottery, I picked up that glass. I can't tell whether it was made 30 years ago or 1,500 years ago. But, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take photographs of these and send them to the Bristol Museum and see what they have to say, because it's whether it's medieval or Roman, this is all that's left of their lives, and it is everything else that they had: their clothing, their food, their houses, the things they wrote with, their clothing, you know, their furniture, the gifts to each other, little boxes, chests, yeah, you name it, anything, jewellery, toys, all of it's gone. All of the only things that really survive are ceramic and stone, and they at least tell us that they were here, and that's quite beautiful. I like that a lot. So they tell us that they were here, which is a nice thing to know. Now, I've actually gained more from coming here. See, knock on the door and the door shall be open to you. You gain nothing by not trying. So on this walk I've got 3 objectives. I've done 2, I've got the 3rd to do. I'm not going to wimp out on the 3rd. I could have wimped out on this because I wasn't going to find anything. I mean, just sat here now I can see 2 pieces of pottery. It was a settlement was definitely here. Whether it was 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago is beside the point. We need to acknowledge their lives and see if we can add to the record about them. Anyway, the Hedge. Let's go and find ourselves a medieval enclosure. So this field is Butts Hayes. Hayes being hedged enclosure. Down that road you can hear there, another 500 yards, 100 yards, 200 yards, is where I'm placing the stone, the Starn forward. Go a mile and a half north of that, you come to a farm called Rowood. All of those, no, the stone forward has nothing to do with it, but it is piecing it together, triangulating it. There might be a hedged enclosure that goes north, south here, but what I'm going to do is try and have a look at the hedges here, see if we can date them. Now, Hooper's rule. There's 2 things about it. One, you must have some historical data to suggest it is old. If you try and hooper a new hedge, you'll find out that it might be hundreds of years old. It doesn't work like that. You need an old hedge, so you need evidence that it is old, possibly old, and work from there. And secondly, for every species you find in 30 yards, woody species, that's 110 years. Add it all together, add 30, and you've got your date. That's how many years old it is. So let's have a look. Have a look here already. I'm showing promise. It's showing promise. the field, they've cut out one of the hedges, so it's elongated and goes to a point at the other side. So there are in fact only 3 hedges that we can have a look at. So I'm going to cut straight across the other side. Things do change, fields do change boundaries, but it's been an interesting walk. A lot has happened. I've loved all of it, but the heat wave we've got is I'm again doubting my fitness, but England's so beautiful. So this hedge has only got 3 species. It's Hooper's rule doesn't really work with low numbers, so that's interesting in itself. So this boundary was here in the 1840s when the tithe map was drawn up. The boundary anyway. Could have been just a ditch. So Hooper's rule would make it to be 360 years old. It's probably not that. But its condition is completely different from the one 100 yards north of it, and that in itself is interesting. I think we're going to get the same thing. That northern one is much wilder. It's been left to be itself, to become like a piece of woodland that's really, really thin, whereas this is obviously shaped from now and again. The boundary next to the road is highly shaped. It is like your garden hedge. We'll see whether I can date that. Right, this is the west side next to the road. Let's give this a whirl. So even though that's the most manicured of the hedges, it might be the council that cuts it, as you know. 5 species. I have included that oak. I have done. The reason being that I think that was originally part of the process, the ecology of the hedge. Now it looks like one species was laid and then other species have impregnated themselves in there, and it's that process that is interesting about Hooper's rule, that they start off with 1 or 2 species and then seeds fly in, and it's that rate by which seeds fly in that tells us how old when the hedge was laid, theoretically. I mean, Hooper did like 200 hedges, all of which had a historical provenance. So that's 580 years old. That's still pretty impressive. So what can we say about this field? I think the enclosure, the row hay, was beyond the north boundary of this field, because that's the oldest hedge. I think all the interesting, there's not many of them, but the interesting names that have to do with roe deer of any sort is north of here. I think that's what we're looking at. So thanks a lot for watching. I shall hope to see you on the next one. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments. I really like answering them, and please leave subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. Ta-ra for now.